Hi ladies and gents, and welcome to another one of my videos. On this video, ladies and gents, I'm going to, or this video is an extension of the database that we were previously working on. Okay, so this is still the 2009 paper, but what I've done here is I've tried to go through a number of queries that you may be asked to produce in either your mocks or your final exams. So in this particular tutorial, I'm focusing just on the queries and not on the reports. So let's take a look at the first query. So the first query says, so first you need to make sure that you load the extensions database. It should be in the same folder on the secondary public, or you may have saved it onto your USBs and taken it home. So make sure that you open the extensions database, please. Here I have mine open. Ladies and gents, the first query shows only the records where the week is week 35 or week 37. So I'm going to create a new query. So I'm going to go to create query wizard. I'm going to add all the fields. So make sure I select the table, the sales table. Add all the fields, then click next and finish. So this is my query here. So let's go back to the question. Okay, so now I've created my query. I need to begin by going back to the design view. So here I have all of my fields in here. So shows only the records where the week is 35 or week 37. So what we do here, ladies and gents, we make sure that we click run. Once we've selected run, we try and look for the weeks. Here I can obviously see it's under week. I go back to the design view, and under week I type in week 35 or just 35 or 37. So it only shows weeks 35 or week 37. Does it show us that? Yes, it does, so we know that that is correct. So here, the key here, ladies and gents, is the use of the word or as a keyword in the search. Okay, so that's a keyword in the database. The next question, ladies and gents, contains a new field called discount, which is calculated at runtime. The discount is 10% of the price. Ladies and gents, we go back through we perform the same action that we did last time. So on top of your exam paper, you would go to, I'm going to add a text box. So I'm going to draw a text box on my exam paper. Okay, and in the exam paper, I'm going to make sure that I annotate the calculated field. Okay, so this is my text box over here. So the field name was discount. So on here, ladies and gents, I'm going to type discount, which is the field name. Okay, which is calculated at runtime. So after the runtime, I would put 2 dots on top of here. So we follow exactly the same steps that you saw previously. So the discount is 10% of the price. So the price is a field in my database. I explained this in the previous tutorial. So I take the price, which is in brackets because we're referring to the price field in the table, multiplied by 10% to find the discount value. Or I could either do 10% or multiply by 0.1 to find 10%. Okay, so that I would do that. So let's do this now then. So I would go back to the design view. So I'd right mouse click on top of the tab, design view. I then scroll across the page. Okay, I go to a new field over here. I drag this box to make it a little bit bigger. I then do discount followed by colon. So I'm typing this in exactly as it is into here, into the new field, which is the price in square brackets multiplied by 0.1 or 10%. I click run. Does it show me 10% of the price? Yes, it does. Okay, so 10% of 195 is 19 and a half. Okay, so that is how we create the calculated field in this case. In the exam, you're sometimes asked to find either 10% of something or add 10% on top of the price. So we have a new field here. So it contains another new field called discount price, which is calculated at runtime. This field is calculated by subtracting the discount from the price. Okay, so here we're referring to two different, we need to use this value here. So we've just created this. So what we do, ladies and gents, we go back into the query, like so. We then extend the box again. So the discount price, I'm just going to go back and check the name. It's called, discounted price. So in here, my field name is discounted price, followed by a colon. Now we should get used to writing the colons in, which is equal to the price minus the discount. Whoops. Minus the discount. Okay, now when I click run, it should take the price and minus 10% to get the value. So 195 minus 19 and a half, or 19.5, equals $175.5. Okay, so we know that that's correct. So that's how we can create a calculated field also using another calculated field. Okay, so this is something that may occur in the exam. So make sure that you're aware of it, ladies and gents. Okay, so I've now completed the first extension query. So I'm going to close this. Okay, so that's how you do the first one. The second one, ladies and gents, let's save it actually, yeah. Okay, so let's look at the extension query number 2. Contains a new field called tax, which is calculated at runtime. This field is calculated by adding 15% to the price. So here we want to try and add 15% to the price. So ladies and gents, we do exactly the same thing again. We go back into design view. We go query, we go to the query wizard, we click OK, we then choose a sales table, add all the fields, we then go to next again, okay, then we click finish. Okay, so here it takes us back to the design view. So this one, ladies and gents, it is called a new field. Remember to annotate your exam paper. Okay, so in here we do a new field called tax, which is equal to the price. So the price, and because we're adding 15% on top of the price, we do multiply by 1.15. So if we're adding 15%, we add on that 0.15 to the 1, which makes 1.15. So I click run. I need to close this table over here. Save and close. Okay, so when I click run now, ladies and gents, here we can see that we have a new field, okay, called price, which adds 15% on top of this price over here. So 3.99 multiplied by 1.15 equals 458.85. So that's how we do the second query if we're trying to add 15% on top of the price. If you want to add 20%, you multiply the price by 1.2. If you want to add 50% on top of the price, you multiply the price by 1.5. Okay, so that's how we do that. I'm not going to go in and create the queries anymore, so I'm going to show you directly from this view over here. So we'll move on to the next query. Query number 3 shows only the records where the price is 195 or 195 or greater, and the booking ends in PL. So this should be or. Okay, so the price is 195 or greater. So ladies and gents, I go back into the query. I go into the price. So where the price, I'm going to click, I'm just going to double check the values here. So it can be 195 or greater. And where the booking ends in PL. Okay, so I do one at a time. So first of all, if I want to do the price is greater or equal to, I need to do greater than or equal to 195. I click run and I double check. Does it show me all the prices that are 195 or greater? Yes, it does. So I'm happy with that so far. I then go back into the design view and now I'm creating what we call a wildcard search. So this search is a little bit trickier, but you should still be able to do it. So where the booking ends in PL. So if I go to run, ladies and gents, here we have a number of bookings, so I'm only looking for the bookings that end in PL, which is these ones over here. So we want to ignore everything before the PL and just include anything that ends in PL. So the way that we do that, ladies and gents, we go back to the design view, we go to the booking. Because we want to ignore anything before the PL, we need to put an asterisk in. We type PL. So the way that this works, it ignores anything prior to the PL and it only looks for searches for anything that ends in PL. So when I click run, ladies and gents, we can see here that all of these queries end in PL and it shows us, also all of the fields end in PL and it shows us the price that is either equal to and greater than 195. So that's how we do this one, anything that ends in PL. So make sure you know this for the exam. It automatically puts the like in for you. So hopefully you should be able to remember that. Okay, ladies and gents, let's move on to the next one. The next one, ladies and gents, is where our shows only the records where the bookings contain MG and where the number is 4, 5 or 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to save this, so I'll just show you how this is done and then you can go ahead and create this yourselves, okay? Or you can save your own versions. So I go back into my database, ladies and gents. Here are all of my fields. Okay, so these are these are my fields over here. So in here, I want to find all the bookings that contain MG. So before I start typing anything into the criteria, I need to go to run to see what the data looks like in front of me. So here I can clearly see there's nothing that begins with MG. There's nothing that ends with MG. So it's something that contains MG in the middle. And you need to follow exactly the same steps in your exam. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. I can see what the data looks like before I create the query. It gives me a better idea of what to search. So because I'm searching for something in the middle, I want to ignore anything before the MG and anything after the MG. So in order to do this, ladies and gents, I go to the booking. Okay, I then put a star to ignore anything before the MG. I then write MG in here, and I put a star to ignore anything after the MG. So this is how the wildcard searches work. I then click run to make sure that this works, okay? Does it show me all the records that have MG in the middle? As I'm scrolling, we can clearly see that works, okay? And it wants us to show all the records where the number is 4, 5 or 6. So what I can do here, ladies and gents, I can click go to the number, okay? And I'm searching for number 4 or, which is a keyword, 5 or 6. So I can simply type them in like this, 4 or 5 or 6 in the number. I go to run and it shows me here all the bookings that have MG in the middle and all the numbers that have 4 or 5 or 6 in the middle. Okay, ladies and gents, so that's how we do that. You can obviously, if you don't understand that, then go back, rewind the tutorial, okay, and listen to it again. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Extension query 5 shows only the records where the bookings begins with AL and JG. So I go back into the database, I look at the booking, so that begin with AL or that begin with J and G. So here we can clearly see that the records do exist in the booking field. So I go back to the design view, ladies and gents, and once again I want to ignore anything after AL. So AL, ignore, AL star to ignore anything after, or JG, and I want to ignore anything after the JG. So I click, I do that, ladies and gents. When I click off it, we can see it automatically puts in the likes for us. We can then click run, and it shows us all the fields or all the bookings that begin with AL or JG. Okay, so let's move on to query number 6. Okay, this is one that we haven't done. Okay, but hopefully it's a fairly easy one to do. So in here, ladies and gents, we want to show only the records that do not contain a booking code. So only the records that don't contain a booking code. So I would delete everything from the criteria. I then go to run. There's something wrong here. Alright, okay, so let's start. I go to run, ladies and gents, and in here in the booking code we can clearly see that there are some values that don't have anything inside them, and I only want to show these values in my search. So I go to the design view, under booking I type in null here. So null means anything that doesn't contain a record. So here, ladies and gents, we can clearly see there are 5 records that don't contain a booking number. Okay, so null means nothing inside them. It automatically puts the is null in the criteria. Okay, so is null, that fields that contain nothing inside them. Let's move on to number 7. Shows only the records where the price is less than 400. So this should be a fairly easy one. So we go to run, we look for the price. Can we see any prices that are below 400? We then go back to the design view. We go to the price and we can see less than 400. We click run. Okay, and we can see all the prices which are less than 400. Let's go move on to the last one, which is query number 8, shows only the records where the tour is yes and the number is between 4 and 7. So we go back to the design view, ladies and gents. Can we see either yeses or nos or Boolean searches? Yes, we can under tour. So wants the tour to be yes. We scroll across. Okay, the tour here, we type in yes. We then click run to make sure that that works properly. We scroll across and we can see that all the tours here are yes. And we also want where the number is between 4 and 7. So in here, ladies and gents, there are 2 ways we can do this. We can either say that the number is greater than or equal to 4 and less than or equal to 7, or we could simply say is between 4 or 7. So when we click run, that doesn't work. Maybe it should be and. Between 4 and 7. So when I click run here, it shows us all the numbers that are between 4 and 7. So we can either use between, or we could do greater than or equal to 4 and less than or equal to 7. Okay, so when we click run, you should also see that this works. Thank you very much for your time, ladies and gents, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you on my next video.